Hey, this is Fred Ottman, Tugboat Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B-A-double-D, Big Steel Man. And the card is subject to change. Watch it.
Well, sometimes love feels just right. It feels so real. It feels just like a power driver. Yeah, a power driver. That's what I'm talking about.
So me personally, I'm actually a lifer. I don't remember a time that I wasn't watching professional wrestling. Even my mom explains it to me as when I was a small child, you know, I would just stop in front of the TV and just sit and watch, and I'd just be quiet and just totally zoned in. So I always been a wrestling fan. And as I get older and even learn more about the business, it's like I continue to fall in love with it for different reasons.
Just it blows my mind. And I'm like tugging on my mom's pants and stuff, and I'm like, Mom. And she's like, yeah, what? And I go, I want to do that. And I'm like pointing at the TV. Well, she looks and she goes, oh, you want to be like Macho Man and wear the cool sunglasses and say, oh yeah, and do the elbow drop? And I go, no, I want to be the guy throwing snakes at people.
Yeah.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. We are powered by Low Pies Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. I'm your host, never wrong, Nick Bull. Joining me is my tag team partner of the For Frequency's Sake Network, the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and I don't know if you can hear him, Nick. It's like there's an angelic choir in the studio today.
I can hear it too all the time, everywhere I go.
We got the chosen one. Eric Eznite is back in studio. A lot has been going on for him, both inside the ring and outside the ring, since the last time he was on. So we definitely wanted to get him back in the studio and catch back up with our friend Eric Eznite, the chosen one, of course. Eric, so good to have you in the studio. How are things going for you?
Things are going good when it comes to wrestling. Definitely since I came on here and talked, a lot of the things that I was hoping to do, I've done. And now I just got to set some more goals, hit the goals, keep doing what I'm doing, is the way I'm looking at it.
Well, let's talk about. Go ahead, CZ. Nick. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go right into it. You know, a couple weeks ago, or within the last couple of weeks, you had a big debut on the Ring of Honor stage.
Yeah,
how cool is that? Talk about that experience.
It was really cool. It was obviously, you know, AEW and ROH are kind of a sister company type situation right now. So I was there for AEW extra work as well. So I had 2 dates recently. I think it was June 8th and 12th for some AEW and ROH tapings. Really cool. I got reached out to by their guy who reaches out. It was cool. I was there all day, you know, Saturday for, what's their Saturday show? Collision. Collision and ROH was one day. And then I went back for Wednesday, Dynamite and Rampage. And then I got on Dynamite as like a security guard. MJF gave me like a quick forearm gimmick and I was out. But that Saturday ROH taping was really cool. I got in there with Jay Marsden and then this other guy from Iowa named AK-47. 3-on-3 action against the Iron Savages. And I mean, I think I got my message across. Even if we didn't come away with the win, everybody knows about Eric Eznite now and how he's trying to fulfill the prophecy. So my mission is complete when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a big part of this business, Eric, and you said that is getting the name out there, you know, getting the prophecy out there. And
yes, sir.
being seen, being heard, definitely making big waves, and it's a big deal when you make your ROH and AEW on TV debut. That was really cool to see from back home here.
Thank you very much.
In the Quad City area, like,
yeah,
CZ, he's been on the show. We know him. It was really cool to see, and we were rooting for you, man.
Yes, sir. I know y'all are rooting for me, and it really feels good to see everyone who's, supporting me after I've had a moment like that. It's cool to see the people who are truly, wanting that to happen for you. So
absolutely
very cool. Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Now,
there's a lot going on with you in SCW Pro. Go ahead. You've had a couple busy weekends. Break down your double shot weekend last weekend, and then, of course, what happened last night as we record this on Sunday afternoon. You guys had a big Iowa City block party. Whatever you want to talk about first, but you've had a couple busy weekends with SCW Pro as well.
SCW is my main thing. SCW is my home promotion. I'll always, have something to do with SCW. They really gave me, really without SCW, Eric Eznite, the chosen 13th disciple, might have never happened. Merrick was the first one to really give me free reins and let me be me, let me do my thing. And if I don't have that experience being chosen Eric Eznite here in the Quad Cities, I don't get to go outside the Quad Cities and do it. So I really owe everything to SCW and Black and Brave when it comes to my wrestling career. Very proud to represent Black and Brave and SCW Pro. But as far as recently with SCW Pro, I was on a winning streak. I was on the rise. Suge is now a member of the Chosen, whether he likes it or not. We've got 5 people. Got 5 people in my group now, 4 disciples. So it really looked like it was like a for certain fulfillment of the prophecy in Bluegrass last week against the Devil Dog Dustin Mosley. But there was some things that happened in the match that caused that not to happen. Probably gonna have to be talking to a couple of my disciples because it's wasn't on me. We had a mission to accomplish out there, and I did my part, but some people didn't follow through on theirs. So the prophecy will be fulfilled. It just was not last Saturday. And then last night I had a nice big 6-man tag in the main event of the Iowa City block party. Really hot crowd. And it didn't come out how I wanted it either. So I'm kind of having to look at some things when it comes to the group. Might have to move some things around personally. But next up we got July 13th in Bluegrass. Not sure what I'm gonna be doing there yet, but I'll let you know. I'm not happy that I've lost the last 2 matches. So this next one,
I don't blame you.
Will not be a loss.
You're talking about the.
Talk about the experience.
Nick and I usually are.
We're usually we're a little off this morning.
We're
That's
usually
all
in
right.
sync.
Talk about the experience of, last night's kind of a new audience, Iowa City.
Sure.
They moved it indoors. You're inside a theater, which is not your typical wrestling venue.
No.
Talk about the crowd and wrestling inside of a venue that's unique to that area.
Yeah. So particularly, Iowa City, the Engler Theater. We did wrestle in there last year because same situation, rains on the day of, and we got to move inside. It's funny, this Iowa downtown city block party always rains out every single year. The first year it rained out, and we had to do the shows later in the day. Last year it rained out, we had to come inside, and this year we had to come inside too. So I don't know, maybe the Iowa City block party is just cursed or something, man. But it always turns out to be like a really, really good show. Like that, the theater is actually a really, really fun, unique venue to wrestle in. We have it's like a theater where people are doing plays and stuff. So they have like a green room behind, for all the actors. So it makes us feel like real superstars whenever we have that type of locker room.
Sure.
But it's really cool, the way that it's set up. You're focused on the wrestling. There's not anything really to distract you. It's right in front of you. And this is mostly a new crowd, mostly college students, mostly drunk. So they usually get pretty into it. So it's always one of the loudest nights of the year. And it was. Last night was really loud. I don't got to do much. Body slam, boom, everybody's erupting, you know. So those are really fun when you don't have to even overthink it much and just go out there and interact with the crowd. That's what last night really was, and it was really fun. Obviously, I'm looking forward to going back there. And me personally, Merrick, I hope you're watching this. I think there's there's something to it wrestling there. I think we could get away with wrestling there more than once a year. I think we could make it a quarterly thing or a winter summer thing because they love us there, man. Even though it's you got to count the factors of it's free, it's part of a downtown block party. They really, really are into it, and I think people would pay to watch that show another time throughout the year. So, Merrick, let's get it done, man. We already have Iowa City and with Wildwood. Let's add another venue. Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric,
Yeah.
I wanna talk a little bit more about the crowd. Talk about the differences between like a bluegrass crowd where it's a lot more enclosed, a lot more intimate, versus performing in front of a crowd that, if I read right, was over 700 people in the theater.
At least, yeah, yeah. So
Talk about the differences there between those two venues.
So yeah, obviously Bluegrass Community Center, that's kind of our base of operations for SCW. I mean, that feels like home for SCW for sure. That's our monthly stop. Everybody knows me there. I'm seeing a lot of the same people every month because they're invested in us. They're invested in the storylines because at Bluegrass, month to month, we're telling stories. Here at Iowa City, we're telling many stories for the crowd to be able to digest in one sitting. They might not understand everything that's going on with my group and the Chosen because they haven't been keeping up. They might not understand, how Corn Boy got the Iowa title exactly. So what we're trying to do at these Iowa City block party shows or at these summer shows, we're really trying to tie it up nice and neat, something really simple, something really digestible, super easy for the crowd to have fun watching. So yeah, at these summer shows like last night, it wasn't anything crazy. It's not gonna be the same type of matches you'd see at like a super indie show, like Dreamwave or AAW or anything like that. This is some old school, old fashioned wrestling that we're just trying to really teach these non-wrestling fans what wrestling is. That's how we really got to look at it. Whereas at the Bluegrass Community Center, um, you know, we're a lot more like month to month story driven. This show is more of like a, hey, here's what SCW Pro is. Here's what pro wrestling is. We hope you like it, and we hope that you come back to see us. So that's the main difference. But at these shows where they've never seen wrestling before, it's really cool because you get to teach them what wrestling is, and that might be the first time they've seen a dude get body slammed. So it is a really cool thing, and people react to it. So there's a couple differences, venue to venue, just like with any promotion. But these summer shows are really just like trailers. We're trying to get people to see what they like and come back, watch the whole thing.
And you got a little practice last week for the outdoor show when you guys had your first show over at Mercado on 5th.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
that's kind of a prequel to what you guys would have at Iowa City in front of a live crowd. Maybe not as big, but definitely outside and amongst the people.
Yep.
I think as a wrestling fan, wrestling fans enjoy, being taken out of and put into a different environment, like a Mercado, or I know a lot of people that maybe don't know about wrestling were at the Iowa City block party last night, but wrestling fans love seeing the different venues. And I know Mercado's always a hit because all the food's right there, so, but Mercado's was what kind of kicked off your recent run. And that was last weekend.
Yep.
What are is there stuff that you try, like at a Mercado show or at this Iowa City show that, hey, I'm going to try this. I may not normally do it, but I might try this to see if it works and then work it in to my regular stuff?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely the type of thing you do. At the same time, I was always taught, and I'm still of the belief, we're on the indies. So if you want to try anything, now is the time to try it. You know what I mean? Yes, I kind of know what I'm doing right now, and I am confident in how I portray myself in the ring. But a year or two ago, maybe I wasn't. So I definitely was trying things. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. At outdoor shows, at shows during wintertime, I'm never really afraid to try something new. But it's definitely a little bit easier when it's a new audience where, they're not going to know what you did last month. They probably won't come see you the next month. So it's definitely cool to try out these new ideas at a show where there's less of a consequence, if that makes sense. But at the same
Yeah,
time, it's indie wrestling, so it's not like WrestleMania where if you mess up, the whole world's gonna know about it, or if you do something new and it doesn't turn out how you like, you're looking at 200 people. They're not really even gonna probably remember it at the next show. You know what I mean? So these are
for
definitely the
sure.
shows to try out new things.
So I have to
We
ask you,
lost Nick.
we did. If you remember, that happened last time too.
I do sort of. I'm getting a little deja vu.
Nick played producer for us on the last episode. We're gonna get him back in here in just let me get him added back. With speaking of Nick, I gotta ask you, Eric. Last time we had you on the show, Nick playing the producer role because of some technical difficulties, asked you to change the name of one of your moves from the Epiphany to the Epiphany, having it be a play on words as KNNE instead of PHY.
Right.
Have you done that yet?
I've kept it the same spelling, but everyone knows, everybody knows, I even on my knee pad it says Epiphany on it, So
It was worth a try.
it means the same thing. We're talking about the same thing.
For sure.
I just had to give a throwback because
That's
I
funny,
knew
man.
that would
I
pop
remember
Nick.
that.
Oh yeah. You've recently added some members to the Chosen.
Correct.
A longtime rival is now under
Yeah.
your tutelage, your command.
My
Talk
guidance.
about how that came about and what's going on with that. We're talking about, of course, SCW Pro Hall of Famer Shane Hollister, now part of the Chosen, now under the tutelage of the Chosen, Eric Eznite, and kind of at your beck and call.
Yeah, I mean, really, to be honest, ever since I've gotten to SCW Pro, it's always been about the prophecy. I've always wanted to fulfill the prophecy of the chosen champion. So everything I've done since then has been to work towards that. So my message as the 13th disciple, my message of truth and prayer, I've got to spread that throughout all SCW Pro. So it started with myself, and then I recruited Garat, who's doing a lot better. I recruited Garat, and then the next person I recruited was the person I turned on, Malik. Now Malik is on the same wavelength as me. He had his epiphany as well. And then we added Brooklyn, or Evangeline, pardon me. We added Evangeline, and then, we were solid 4 members at that point. Things happened with Garat. We added Augustus Straven. This whole time, all I've been trying to do is build my message, build my influence, help save the sinners so that I can become champion. So it was only natural. It was always going to happen that, a respected vet was going to step up and try and get in my way. So he was either going to be taken care of, which I did take care of him several times. I beat him several times, but he just wouldn't leave me alone. So he became chosen as well. And I think things are great. And I think that the prophecy is well intact. I've got strongest group in SCW Pro. I mean, yeah, it didn't work out, 2 weeks ago, Saturday against Dustin Mosley, but things happen. I'll regroup. He may have won the battle, but I'm in this for the long game. I'm here for the war. I've been in SCW for 3 years now, and again, my sights have always been set on the SCW championship. So, me building this group, this is all the prophecy. This is all supposed to happen. So Suge is just another disciple in my story. It's unfortunate that it had to go how it did, but I think he's coming along, and I think he's starting to understand the prophecy as well.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
I know the match didn't go the way you wanted it to, but talk about how it felt being in that title match, just in general.
It was cool. I had a couple of title shots last year when JT Energy was holding the belt. I thought those were my time. This really felt like this was the moment. I've been on a winning streak. I've got, again, the strongest group in SCW Pro backing me up. It felt very cool, very special, and you could tell that night in the Bluegrass Community Center that they were really into it, and they really hated me, and they really loved Devil Dog. So I think it's fair to say that Devil Dog, Dustin Mosley, and myself are probably the two top guys in SCW Pro when it comes to the top good guy and the top. See, I think I'm a good guy. I don't know why everyone wants to call me a bad guy. But if we're going to go off of what everyone thinks, you got Devil Dog as the top good guy and me as the top bad guy. But really, I'm just trying to help everyone. I wish everyone.
The way
was
I look at it,
Correct.
you're just trying to wash the sins away of everyone everyone involved.
Exactly. They just refuse to see it.
Tell you what, you aren't the only one who thought that last week was going to be the night. The stars were really aligning for you. CB and I were talking. We're like, Eznite's on a roll. His group's stronger than ever. This might be the time. But the prophecy is yet to be fulfilled, but it's going in the right direction.
It is. Correct.
Well, gentlemen, we're going to take a quick time out here. We've got so much more to talk about with Eric Eznite, but we're going to pay dues to our sponsors. On the other side of the break, we will hear from our good friend JT Energy with his moment of focus. But we'll take care of that here in just a moment. Stay tuned to Card Subject to Change.
Football season may be over, but for frequency's sake, still has you covered for all your sporting needs. Tune in every Sunday when the best professional wrestling podcast around, Card Subject to Change, gets you caught up on everything inside the ropes. They won't miss a count with weekly analysis and interviews. More into auto racing? We've got a double dose for you on the track. Tune into Fast Money with Rod Villagomez each week and win some money with the quickest bets in all of sports. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your basketball fix? Points in the Paint has you covered with live shows every other week looking at everything in the association. Backed by popular demand, we have the return of The Payoff Pitch, FFSQC's baseball show, covering you on news around the MLB. If you're missing football, don't fret. Mark and Dan still have you covered in the football lounge. Missing Joe Winkle? Probably not, but he's still here talking sports on Educated Ignorance. Football season might be over, but we've still got you covered. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
For frequency's sake is brought to you by Durham Remodeling, serving the Quad City area's remodeling and repair needs since 1973. Clint's Draft House, grab a bite and a pint. 7th Street, Moline. Lopez, New York-style pizza served up by the slice or pie, Davenport. Lifted Energy, energy drinks, coffee, donuts, and more. #GetLifted. Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles. Sports cards and memorabilia, vintage clothing, hats, pennants, and more. Ryan Allison Tattoo. Step into the vibrant world of tattoos with Ryan Allison. And A Cut Above, offering quality custom woodwork designed specifically around our customers.
Welcome back to Card Subject to Change.
Welcome back.
We are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook, Country Financial. With us is Eric Eznite, and we will get back to talking with him in just a moment. Right now, we've got to take a moment to just focus with our good friend JT Energy. So let's see what JT has to focus on today.
Welcome to a moment of focus with the feline phenom JT Energy. And today in the studio, you have the chosen one, the chosen champion, the man that's making some moves, Eric Eznite. But what are we going to focus on today? That's the real question. What are we going to focus on? You know what we're going to focus on? Patience. Patience, my friends. Because good things come to those who wait. So, take some time, wait for the good to come. This has been a moment of focus with the feline phenom, JT Energy.
Now, Eric, I was watching you during that segment, and that seemed to strike home with the patience and what we were talking about just before the break.
Yeah.
All good things do come in the end here with patience.
That's right.
Speaking of, Nick and I were talking. We thought it was your time last week. We're not the only one. Our good friend Stryker says you should be the champion right now. We can agree with that. Nothing against the Devil Dog. He's a good friend of ours, but
I mean, he's got the devil in his name, man. He's got to get out of there. I'm not cool with that.
That's fair. That's fair. You gotta do something about that, and sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I got to give props here to JT real quick. He always has something pertinent to say, and it was almost like he was listening to our conversation.
Yeah.
To what his message was there. But man, his animation threw me off. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, JT's
like,
a
what is
cartoon
going
now.
on here? But he's absolutely right. In all due time, patience, and that's kind of the wave, the theme that you've been riding is things are falling in line for you, but
Yeah.
Patience is the key right now.
Yeah, it's just patience and consistency. If you keep putting yourself in favorable positions and you keep putting yourself, in a position to be seen, it'll happen. I believe that. And it's all, it's within my wrestling character, the prophecy and wanting to fulfill it and be the champion of the world and makes it WWE. That's within my character, but it really is something that I truly believe that if I continue on the road that I'm on and I continue working hard, I think it's 100% achievable.
Now we're talking here with Eric Eznite on the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. We've been talking a lot about your in-ring work and what's going on with the prophecy. Let's step away from the ring for a second because I follow you on social media, friends on Facebook or whatever, and you've got a very busy, active life outside of the ring. With your training, your health and fitness regimen, you're helping people out in the gym. Talk about that a little bit and how you balance that with your wrestling life. We talk about all things wrestling on here, but outside of the ring, you're obviously helping other people out in a different way.
Yeah, balance is a funny word when it comes to pro wrestling and trying to find a job that works for you. Pro wrestling is very demanding in a lot of different ways. Obviously, there's the physicality to it, but the schedule too. You've really I want to fulfill the prophecy. I want to make it to the top. I want to sign a big contract. You got to put a lot of time and effort into it. And that's not just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the weekends. I mean, there's a lot that goes into during the week, when it comes to your social media, when it comes to networking, reaching out to promoters for bookings, it doesn't just fall in your lap. It takes a whole lot of time and effort. So finding a job where you can still have that time, specifically the time, on the weekends, that's step one. But having some flexibility in case, AEW calls me or WWE emails me and they're like, hey, we need extra work in Chicago tomorrow. You got to have like these, if you really want to commit fully, you got to have flexibility and balance, if you want to call it balance. So me, I have a personal training and nutrition thing I got going on. I'm doing it all by myself. So makes it a little bit harder because I'm also doing the wrestling all by myself. So that's why I hesitate to call it balance. I sometimes wish that I had a job where I could just leave and be done with it. But
Right.
at this point in time, I'm in a scenario where it's all on me. So when it comes to wrestling and when it comes to the personal training, so there's pros and cons to it. But one of the pros, one of the good parts to it, is that I'm in complete control of my schedule. Complete 100% control. I don't have, a boss telling me what to do, when I need to clock in and clock out. You can't take off this day. So that's definitely one of the benefits I have. If I have a show I want to go to and I can make it happen, I'm going to make it happen. It's not like I have to get approval or anything. But when it comes to the personal training and nutrition business, I really do have a passion for helping people in that way. You know, it's in my character in wrestling, I'm claiming I want to help people by yelling at them, calling them sinners, saying they're doing stuff wrong. That's all on purpose. That's all my character. But in real life, I do want to help people, and fitness and nutrition is for me. That's how I do that. I enjoy it. I have a passion for it. I love to see people change over 3, 4, 5 months, not just their body, but when your body starts to change, a lot of other things start to change. Your mentality starts to change. I love to see that transformation happen right in front of my eyes.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't really know. Like, obviously wrestling's my main thing that I want to do for my career, but for that job right now to support me, I don't know what else I would do other than personal training or nutrition coaching.
Well, you're in such a unique situation because we talk to different wrestlers and you hear different wrestlers with their shoot job and how they have to work odd hours.
Right.
They have to put in for time off, and like you're your own boss. That's such a unique thing. You control everything, and then you're such in like you're like in the driver's seat. Seriously, you make the calls and you're not answering anybody, and that's a good position to be in.
Yeah.
For you being a wrestler, that hey, these other people may need me this weekend, or may need me this week during the week. I can't do this, and you're the boss. That's such a unique thing. Like, I feel like you've got so much behind you by having that. Like, so many people battle with outside jobs, and you've got this in the palm of your hand. You got this. You got the whole world in your hands, right?
Right.
Eric, I know you've helped quite a few people with the nutrition and the personal training.
Right.
If there are some people out there who are listening, where can they find you and reach out if they're wanting to make that change and get some help?
I got a website. It's perfect. EricEznite.com. You can order your merch off of that website, or you can also book personal training and nutrition coaching through there as well. I have, all my services on there. I have all of my credentials. I break down how I'm going to help you. I'm very hands-on. It's all me. So I'm very hands-on with my clients and wanting to help them the best I can. So EricEznite.com when it comes to training, pro wrestling. Another one of those scenarios where I'm not necessarily going through somebody else like Pro Wrestling Tees or whatever. I'm trying to be in 100% control in the driver's seat, like you said. So EricEznite.com, it'll get you right.
Now, I'm going to ask this, and if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to, because I'm not looking for free advice. But what do you say to someone like me? I'm 460 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in a mental place where I'm ready to make changes.
Okay.
I want to be. It's like it's right there sitting in front of me. I just can't bring myself to do it. So if someone in my situation, what would you say to them to kind of motivate them to take that next step?
Well, I definitely have to gently tell you that if you want to see change, you have to make some changes. You know, if you want to see different results, you got to do some different ways to see those results. And there's so much misinformation on fitness and nutrition and what you should and shouldn't eat. Um, yeah, there's a whole lot of just bullshit out there. I hope I can say that, but
Absolutely.
there's a whole lot of just wrong information out there. So it's easy to try a diet for a week and then get discouraged and not want to do it again. You know, it's definitely a lot easier to. It's very easy to get discouraged in the current environment because you don't know what's true, what's actually gonna get you the best results. So I would say, it just depends on if you're looking for like some easy fixes that will help with your health, or are you looking for like some straight up like day in day out accountability like with somebody else?
I mean, accountability is something that I have issues with
Yeah,
personally. That's hard for me to answer
yeah,
because I have a lot of obstacles right now that
sure,
I don't want to go into on the air.
fair,
But there's a light at the end of the tunnel where I think my things are going to improve
yeah,
in a few months.
okay,
Honestly, for me,
yeah,
I know I can lose the weight.
yeah,
This is
totally,
the third time. I'm the biggest I've ever been right now. This is the third time I've gained back the weight in
okay,
probably the last decade. When I was down about 260, 280, the weight had just dropped off in a matter of 6 months because I was eating better. I was
yeah,
walking all the time, and it just feels like I don't have the motivation to do that now.
mm-hmm,
And I don't know. I can't pinpoint the hang up, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe you just gotta start slow and get back into it. You know, you say you were walking. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Yeah, get
used to
back
do a
into
lot of
some.
walking.
Yeah, get back into some walking. Even if you just start with 2 20-minute walks a week. You know, start off with some small bites, and you can build it up from there, and then you're moving a lot more throughout the week. If you add a little bit of walking every week, you're moving a whole lot by that fifth, sixth week, and then whether you want to implement some dietary changes when you first start walking or in a couple weeks. If it helps you to like start slower, start slower. You know what I mean? But eat some more vegetables, eat some more fruit, higher protein, move a little bit more. That's really all it is when you break it down and be simple. It's just eat some more protein, eat some more fruit and vegetables, and move a little bit more. If that's probably like the easiest way to start. You know, if you have done all those things and you've seen a little bit of progress, um, then I think at that point you can be like, okay, now I'm ready to really commit to it. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think if you
And
start off with just some simple, very doable steps that you can do, and you show yourself that you can do them, and even if you see a little bit of progress off of that, I think that's what you need. And I think you need to I think you need to see yourself and show that you can do it. And then from there, it's just like, oh, I can do it. Maybe I can do this. Oh, I can do that. Maybe I can do this. And then you just sort of, you like seeing yourself motivated like that. You like seeing the results you see, and then you want to keep going.
And I just want to throw out there, obviously I asked for my own personal health, but
Sure.
I know I'm not the only one struggling out there. And
Right.
If I can ask a question that's going to help someone else out, I always
Definitely.
want to do it. And you being in that nutrition and personal trainer aspect, I felt it pertinent that if it's going to help me, it's going to help someone else, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. I have no problem answering questions like that. Like I said, I'm in training and fitness to help people. That's what I like to do. So no problem.
You're listening to the Card Subject to Change podcast by the fan for the fan. We are powered by Low Pies Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, protected by Jared Zook Country Financial. We have Eric Eznite, the chosen one, in the studio with us this week. And Eric, the last time you were on the show, you had a lot going on. This time you're on the show, good things going on, a lot more going on. Say a year from now, we have you back on the show. What's going to be different with Eric Eznite in a year, 2 years? The projection's still going up. Where do you see yourself in the next year or two?
Man, I'd love to have a contract somewhere by next year. Obviously my end goal, we all know where my end goal is. I want to end up where my coach is at. I want to be in the WWE. That's where I always wanted to be.
Sure.
It's not always a straight path there. It's not always a straight trajectory. It's not always them who offers you the first contract. So, I think by this time next year, I would love to be in that position where I'm either under contract or about to be offered a contract or something like that. For in 2 years, definitely I need to be under contract somewhere. But for 1 year, I definitely, I still think that's doable. I think for sure I want to knock off more states that I've debuted in.
Cool.
I think I'm up to 7-8 states right now. I got to get that number into the teens. I definitely want to go over. I've been over in Texas and in the Midwest. I definitely want to go over the other side of the country. Do some Arizona, New Mexico, Cali, stuff like that. I haven't wrestled out in that side of the U.S. So I think, and within a year from now, I'd love to have some bookings out of the territory, and I'd love to, I don't know, have a contract I'd love to have a contract in a year. And I think it's, like I said, I think it's doable. I just gotta have my goal in my head. And for me, I really do. I'm the type to write down what I want to do and then write down the steps to get there and check off the steps as I do them. For me, that's the only way I can really do it. But it's one of those things that keeps me accountable. I think I can do that. I think in a year, I'd love to have a contract, and I'd love to have wrestled in 5 or 6 more states. Within 2 years, I got it. It's necessary. That contract is necessary, and then hopefully even more states by then. Those are 2 great goals. I think within a year, and I think too. I mean, I need some gold. I haven't won some championships in a while, and by this time next year, I definitely want to have championship reign or 2 or 3. It's all about the prophecy. That's what I'm trying to do. Win the gold. So in a year, I'd love to have that FCW Pro Championship.
Oh, yeah.
I think I can speak for CZ here. We're 2 old farts compared to you, and you seem you're wise among your years. You've got your head on straight. You're motivated. You're your own boss. I mean, that's a dream right there. You're your own boss, and you got things going in the right direction. And I think in a year or 2, you're going to have those goals. I really do, because you're driven. You've got the right mindset. You're not coming on here and bullshitting. You're spitting facts, and I think you've got your head on straight. And not like I'm some dad trying to give you fatherly advice. You got this.
Thanks, Dad.
You're on the right path.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Our good friend Stryker says he'd love to see you in Dreamwave. I think that'd be an experience for sure. I could see you fitting in there.
Would love to drive up to LaSalle to see Eric Eznite in Dreamwave. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Let me follow up what you were talking about earlier about getting that contract.
Yeah.
If that contract were to come from, say, a Pro Wrestling Noah or a New Japan, how do you feel about going overseas? Is that something on your bucket list?
I would do that. I wouldn't say that when I got into the business, I was like, ooh, let me get a New Japan contract and go to Japan. But I definitely, like, the more I'm in this wrestling business, the more I definitely want to experience different crowds, different environments, different styles of wrestling, because it really just helps me become a better wrestler. And then the better of a wrestler I can be, the more likely I am to get the contract that I want. So, no, I'd love to sign a contract with New Japan, Noah, Ring of Honor, TNA, whatever it may be. I want a contract somewhere for a respectable wrestling company.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me this question just came in because of what you were saying. You want to build yourself by experiencing different wrestling styles, things of that nature. They say that iron forges iron, I believe.
Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. Yes, thank you. Is there a particular opponent that you've had that you can look back and say, man, he really brought out the best in me?
Oh yeah, I can think of several. I mean, really, first one's gonna be obvious. Shane Hollister. He just feels so easy to get in there with. We hate each other. Don't forget it. But we really have some really good matches, and I think our wrestling styles, work well together. Um, I I come up with Suge all the time. Well, should I do this, Suge? Should I do this combo than this one? And he'll kind of give me some ideas, give me some advice. And yeah, when I'm in there with him, when I'm actually wrestling with him, it's just easy, and it feels like it's just fire straight off the bat. It just feels, um, it feels right. It feels like I'm elevated. He's elevated. So Suge for sure. I definitely remember I had a show at what's it called? In Moline. What's the outdoor place we used to go to in Moline?
The Beer Stube?
Beer Stube. I had a match with Manders at the Beer Stube a year or two ago. And we see what he's doing now. He's killing it. He's one of those dudes that I look up at and I'm like, okay, let me see what he's doing right. Let me take a little bit from that, And when I had this match with Manders 2 years ago at Beer Stube, it was the same thing, but just in the ring. He brought out that intensity in me. He just knew little things that not every pro wrestler knows, because he's been a lot of different places and learned a lot of different styles of wrestling. And he had a lot of advice and tips for me in that match, and just stuff that he didn't have to say when I was wrestling him that I just picked up. Very smart guy when it comes to the wrestling matches and putting on a good wrestling match. But if there's anything I have to, I'm not going to text Colby or Seth Rollins, or if I'm not going to text Merrick, I'll text sometimes Steven Manders. I'll be like, hey, so, should I be tracking my gas? Should I be, doing this as an independent pro wrestler? And he's always a smart guy that I can ask, and he's going to give me a smart answer. I remember I had a great match with Josh C. a good year or two ago now at Wildwood. That's one that stands out to me. That's why I say I owe SCW so much, because yes, those are all homegrown SCW guys, but not everyone gets to get in there and work with those guys, you know. And when you do get in there and work with those guys, you learn a lot because they've been in a lot of different places. Independent wrestling is very cool in that way. You know, you can learn with everyone that you get in the ring with. You know, it might be you learn, okay, I don't like wrestling this guy. He's not any good. but you also might learn a lot of things like how I did with Manders and Jossie and Shane Hollister. I'd say those three, I learned a lot from wrestling them because they've been in a lot of different places and a lot of different promotions.
And you mentioned Manders. He's a guy that's up and down the roads and appearing in all these different places. What a resource to be able to have to reach out and talk to him. I'm going to bring up something maybe you don't want to talk about, but it's a big memory I have of you this year.
What's up?
And it's when you were fighting Suge and took that vicious kendo stick shot to the ear.
Yeah.
Continued the match and won.
Yes.
Can you take us through those moments when that happened, what you were thinking, and like,
oh man,
did you realize how bad it was?
After a couple seconds, yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where, man, you know, I obviously know it's a headshot. You know, I know what's coming. That's all I'm really thinking I'm gonna be taking from the kendo stick the whole match. So I don't know, man. I wasn't expecting that, obviously. So so I mean, I just remember, you know, I wish we could pull up the footage right now.
I do too, because it is one of the most vicious shots I've seen live. I've seen a lot of stuff on TV, but being there live and seeing it, and then the crowd gasp, it was something I won't forget. That was, and I didn't want to trigger any bad memories for you, but
dude,
I
you're not
wanted to ask
triggering
you
any
about
bad
it.
memories. But you know what's funny about that? My girlfriend, that was the first match she ever watched of me
Oh no.
live. It was so funny, man. And then we spent the whole night basically in the ER after that. So definitely a memorable experience that neither of us will forget.
Right.
But yeah, so you know, I'm going into it knowing that, you know, that's what's gonna happen, expecting to get a hand up. That's what you do. Pro wrestlers, you know, younger pro wrestlers, if you're getting hit in the head, put a hand up. If it's a chair, if it's a trash can lid, if it's a table, if it's whatever, put the hand up at the last second. You know, that's with a lot of headshots, you know, whether it's a kick to the head, blah, you know, get the hand up at the last second. We're not really trying to fucking cause each other CTE. We're not really trying to kill each other. So please protect yourself. And I tried. So in this, I wish I could show you the footage once again, but I tried, you know, I tried to get my hand up at the last second. I'm trying to be discreet about it. So I tried, and I'm telling you, I missed it by that much. I missed it by that much, dude. And it hit me. And I just remember being like so surprised. Like everyone's like, oh my God, did it hurt? Did it hurt? I mean, I guess it hurt. I think I have, after all these years of wrestling, there's a pain tolerance that I can't really explain, and an adrenaline that I can't really explain that helps you get through pain. So when it hit me, it wasn't painful. It wasn't like, oh my God, that hurt so bad. It was when it hit me, y'all heard it. It was so loud. Imagine if you got hit in the ear, how loud it would be if it was loud to everyone else.
Yes.
So it hit me, and I was like, it hit me. And when I fell to the ground for it, I didn't immediately fall. Like I kind of took it, walked around, and flare bumped, fell over.
Yep.
But so it hit me, and when it hit me, I was like, oh my God, that was so loud. Like I was just like, damn, that was loud. Like that's the first thing I thought of. And I'm like, it hit me in the head. So I am like a little bit like, I need to like go to the ground. So I go to the ground, and I like immediately reach for my ear. And like, I look at everyone, like I'm like on the ground, and I like am looking at everyone in the crowd, and I'm looking at the camera girl who's recording the match. I look at her, and I make eye contact with her, and she's like this. Recording, she's like, recording like that. So I'm like, ah, oh, damn, I'm fucked up. So I'm on the ground, and I'm like, I guess I should look at my hand and see what's up. because I can feel it warm. I don't know it's bleeding yet, but I see everyone's faces.
Yep.
I'm like, this isn't good. So I look at my hand, and it's covered in blood. And I'm to that point where I don't remember if I said it or if a fan said it or if we both said it. But I think I said "holy shit" when I looked at it, like just like quiet, like, sort of quietly. But I think I looked at it and was like "holy shit," and that's so against my character. That's why it's kind of funny.
Right.
So I look at it and I'm like, "Oh fuck," and then everything else, nothing changed. That was how the rest of the match was supposed to go. And like I said, I finished the match, won the match. It definitely added a whole nother level and layer of intensity, of reality, of you know, just another reason for me to hate Suge's guts. So
It
I feel
definitely
like
helped fuel the fire of that feud.
it
Sure.
definitely did. It definitely did.
So stitches, staples, or glue, and how much?
Glue. I remember it was main event. Show just ended. Everyone's kind of in a panic because that just happened. Um, I've got half the locker room telling me, "Oh my god, dude, that looks terrible. Like, you need to get that checked out. You need to go to the ER. You need to get it stitched up." Like, and half of everyone was like that. It looks terrible. Like, dude, oh my god. And I'm just seeing people's reactions. And then I got the other half of the old timer vets, and they're like, "Hey, man, we need to just glue that shit back together, man. Just sit back. We'll get that fixed for you." And I'm like, who do I listen to? And I got my girlfriend here. I got my girlfriend over here waiting on me. Haven't even talked with her yet after I got my ear blown off. So I'm like trying to decide what to do, and then I'm like, okay, I should probably go to the ER. Probably just to be safe. And it's a good
It's
thing I
almost
did.
like you had an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other talking to you about what to do
That's
there,
so
right?
perfect, man. That's right. Exactly.
And I'm not going to name any names that are in my head, but I can hear the voices. Who's telling you which of these things on
Dude, that's
either
so
side?
funny.
I can hear who's saying it in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we decided to go to the ER. And they like really what hurt the most was it had like all the blood had dried up by the time I got to the ER and got back in the ER because we got there and we sat there for 6 hours. Not even kidding. We were there for 6 hours.
Oh
So
no! So
we
it's been a long night already.
oh yeah.
It's been a long night already.
I got home at like 5-6 a.m.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh.
My girlfriend was supposed to leave on like the 6 a.m. flight. She had to leave like on the following flight. She's a flight attendant, so it worked out.
Okay.
But yeah, it was definitely like it was a whole night. It was an experience. But what hurt the most was it had scabbed up and dried up. So what hurt the most was just the doctor like cleaning it and scraping it off where the cut was. And then they glued it back together, and you can barely tell really. I mean, there's a little bit of a line. Um, but it's not one of those where it's like, oh my god, that dude has a gnarly ear, type of thing. So, and I also got like a scar from Malik kicking a chair through my face, but that's also not a bad one. So I've been lucky with my bloody facial injuries. They haven't been too bad, and I'm really hoping that they don't get any worse. So, but this is pro wrestling.
And you got it. And you got a story to tell.
Yeah, yeah. That was crazy,
that was a
man.
vicious hit. I didn't mean to trigger any memories, but I'm like,
no.
I get him back on the show. I got to ask him about that because it was brutal, man. It was brutal.
No, you didn't trigger any memories in a bad way at all. It was just a crazy story. I just feel like I have so many like crazy stories because I'm a pro wrestler when it comes to just travel stories, that type of thing. One thing I forgot to tell you whenever we pulled up to the ER, so funny, but so embarrassing. We pull up, got this bloody ear, midnight, and they're like, hey, what's up? What do you need? And I just kind of turn my head and show them. They're like, oh, okay. Well, what happened? And I was like, well, I was in a pro wrestling match, and there was a little bit of an accident, And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, how did you get kicked in the head? I'm like, well, I got hit in the head with a stick. And they were like, on purpose? And I was like, I mean, I mean, sort of, but not really. I just remember feeling so dumb in that moment. It was, they were just so confused. They were like, on purpose? Man, that was a night. That was a funny night.
I bet. Well, Eric, I know you've got a busy life. Nick and I do as well. We're not going to keep you too much longer, but before we let you go, remind everybody where they can find you on social medias. I know we've got ericeznite.com. We talked about that earlier.
Correct.
But if they want to follow you on socials, where can they find you?
So luckily, my name's spelled the same everywhere. So Eric Eznite. It's going to be Eric Eznite on Instagram, no space. Eric Eznite on X, no space. On Facebook, it's Eric Eznite. There probably is a space on that one. YouTube, Eric Eznite Pro Wrestling. I'm able to post pretty much all my matches on there except SCW, because SCW has their own Patreon.
Right.
That's all my socials, yeah. And then ericeznite.com.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. I love the good stories, and like we said last time, come back anytime. You are always welcome to come talk wrestling with us.
I love coming on.
Nick, you and I are not done for the day.
No, we're not.
In just a few hours, we're going to have Matt Hatter on at our normal time at 6:30. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Where is he out of? Where does he wrestle out of?
That's a great question. And
because I feel like I've heard of him.
He's I want to say Western Iowa based or mid to Western Iowa based, but putting me on the spot, I can't. I know he and I talked about it, but
it just feels like I don't know. He was never in Texas, was he?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. He's more Midwestern based.
Yeah.
Ask him, just in case.
Okay. Absolutely.
He just sounds familiar.
But yeah, we've got that coming up at 6:30 tonight.
There you go.
Next week we'll be reviewing Forbidden Door, I believe, right, Nick? That's next
right.
Sunday.
Forbidden Weekends or the Forbidden Weekend. Forbidden Door is next weekend. Yes.
And we'll be reviewing that a little bit later. Obviously, that's going to be a late night for us watching the show to review.
Yep.
But for Eric Eznite, who's been a fantastic guest, thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. For my tag team partner, one half of the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network Tag Team Champions. My name is the Wizard CZ. He is never wrong, Nick Bull. You've been tuned into Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fans, for the fans, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and of course, protected by Jarrett Zook, Country Financial. We'll see you later tonight with our second episode of the Double Shot Weekend on Card Subject to Change. Thanks for tuning in.